Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Wind Down Rewind, where we rewind the latest in entertainment and pop culture news. How you doing this week, Tammy?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Doing well. I'll be better when my numbers hit, but until then, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it.
When your what hit? Oh, your numbers.
My numbers, girl. My
Yeah,
numbers.
that's a good plan.
But there's a lot to get into, so I think we should just get into it. I hope you all are doing well, pop stars. Um, you know, they laid Queen Elizabeth to rest. Did you watch any of that?
Why would I?
I don't know.
You're more of a fan of the royal family than I am.
I'm a fan of Harry.
There we go. You're a fan of Harry, who was at the funeral. No, I did not. I had no inkling to watch any of that.
I didn't either, honestly, but I did kind of keep up with the coverage about it. And again, I'm a fan of Harry, and as much as the British media likes to hate on him and Meghan and Sop Island, they make a pretty penny for it. And at some of the coverage, you would have thought it was more about them returning to England rather than the Queen's funeral. So they made sure to make
The
sure,
royalists made it more about that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. The leaks, him and his brother, and just it was a mess. So, but I heard that the service was nice. As far as funerals go, I'm not a big. I don't know who's a fan of funerals. I was gonna say I'm not a big fan of funerals. So, but I don't know many people who are, who
Uh,
just get geeked to go to funerals. So I don't really watch them on TV.
I think that it was horrible because if you don't know the financial situation in England right now, I can understand the people who were against the funeral. I understand that it was the Queen, but seeing the financial situation that Great Britain is in right now, I can understand them saying that they wasted millions of dollars on this whole procession for the Queen's funeral when you literally have a whole bunch of British people struggling just to survive and pay their electricity bills. So it's kind of like twofold. Like it was really sad that the Queen passed away, and I understand she was the face of the country, but with where the country is, did you need to spend that much money when y'all are in a crisis as much as you are? Just saying.
Yeah, and their financial situation is a lot worse than ours. Inflation
Yes,
is doing a number on us, but it is really fucking with them.
because they're an
So
island.
yeah, I agree with you on that. And like I said, from what I've seen, Charles still hasn't been coronated. So they'll probably preempt General Hospital to
That's
show
another
that.
multi-million-dollar event.
Yeah. So from what I've seen though, and from what I've heard, and from all of the leaks that came out, I still don't know that he's prepared to meet the challenges that's facing the monarchy, as far as keeping the remaining Commonwealth, the remainder of the Commonwealth together. Him or Willie, Big Baldy, whatever. So
Oh, Eddie.
my bad. Um, and we were just talking about the Windsor children, Harry and Meghan's children. They will be given official titles, Prince and Princess, but like their parents, they won't have the honor of His Royal or His or Her Royal Highness, the
What's the purpose
HRH.
of them having the title if they don't have what's their birthright? I don't understand that. I'm sorry. I just don't get it.
I think it's just Charles's way to try to appease, and not be seen as petty. So there's two thoughts that they will actually honor the queen's wishes and find a way to reconcile, or that they are going to fully try to exile Harry now. So we'll see how it all plays out. I'm probably going to go with the exile, because the only way they'll reconcile is if Harry tries to come running back and apologizing, saying it was all him. But in another case of be careful what you ask for, we talked about it a little bit last week. I dubbed Trump the spy who hates us. And I don't really I'm not getting all into it, but he wanted the special master, right? He got the special master. He got the special master that he wanted, a judge out of Brooklyn, New York, Judge Deary, right? And Judge Deary is a savage. Like, he was funny. Um, so the big deal was about whether or not the records were classified. And the judge was like, well, give me proof you declassified them. And they're like, but we're going to hold on to that. And so he said, well, the government has shown me where they're classified. So if that's what they say, that's what they are. They're classified. So then the Trump's lawyers come back and say, well, when can we get clearance to see the records that they have? And the judge was like, clearance is on a need to know basis. And if you needed to know, then you would already have it. So they're not going to get the clearance to see the records. And they kept referring to the president. So at one point, the judge says, are you talking about President Biden? And they're like, no, we're talking about Trump. And he goes, let the record show that they're talking about the former president who is now an ordinary citizen. I'm just like, damn. So Judge Jerry, he just, and he basically told them that you cannot have your cake. No, he literally told them they can't have their cake and eat it too. So the special master is not going the way that they hoped it would go. And he basically said that if we can get through this without any of us seeing the records, he's like, I don't even want to see them. So he's like, if we can get through this without me having to see them, and for damn sure without you having to see them, then that's exactly what we're going to do. So I just thought that was kind of funny. And then the New York Attorney General, I know you heard about her filing her $250 million lawsuit against the family. Did that make you sad?
Why would it make me sad?
Because you're a Trump. And let me stop before you cuss me out. No, I was being funny. But I was just like, damn. Like, she's the epitome. I told you, I think I said before, if there was a picture of fuck around and find out, I think when you look it up, her picture, the picture of Letitia James would come up under fuck around and find out. It would be her picture. If it had a human face to it, I think it would be hers. She's taken no prisoners. $250 million. If they're found liable, because it's a civil suit, so it's not guilty, it would be liable. If they're found liable in the civil suit, then they can't, him or his three spawn, his grown spawn, Eric, Ivanka, and Coke Boy, Trump Jr. What?
No, go ahead.
They couldn't operate a company or own a company or be on the board of a New York company ever again. So I'm not. And they would have to hold off on doing real estate transactions for a period of about 5 years. So I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. You know. But yeah, so that's been his week, the spy that hates us. Yeah. And then his homeboy. What did you think about that? What DeSantis did to the migrants? Did you have flying them all the way out to Martha's Vineyard?
I think he's going to get away with it.
You do?
Yep.
Why?
Because that's how our country works now.
You don't think anyone's going to hold him accountable?
Nope. They'll try to sue him, but ultimately he won't be punished at all.
Well, they filed a civil suit. Do you think it was human trafficking?
I'm sorry?
Do you think it was human trafficking?
Yeah.
I agree.
Everything that they said is true, but will he be punished? No.
And I agree with you on that. Like, I was just like, okay, the civil suit, the migrants filed a class action civil suit. But what got me is the more information we found out. So initially, you would think that they were in Florida. No, this motherfucker went and he got them from Texas, and you know his homeboy Abbott didn't care. So I'm like, wait a minute, you're the governor of Florida, and you're coming here to Texas, basically kidnapping people from San Antonio and sending them to Martha's Vineyard. And my thing is, if you're so proud of what you're doing, if it's one thing if you're really that cruel and depraved where you think that what you're doing is the right thing. But if that's what you believe, stand on that. Why are you trying to lie and hide them in the system? You're giving them addresses to random homeless shelters between here and LA, like all the way across the country. So it's just like, you know what you're doing is wrong. You know that is bullshit. And I was just like, man, so yeah, that's pretty disgusting. But thoughts and prayers to the people of Florida. There's a pretty bad Tropical Storm Ian heading their way. You have enough bullshit to deal with your governor, so I'm sorry you have to deal with that too. And speaking of bullshit, Tesla is getting sued again, this time for sexual harassment. So, score another one for the culture that Elon Musk creates at his companies, which again, I stand by. I hope he doesn't get to buy Twitter. I hope he just has to pay them the money and move on. But yeah, so that's it for that. You got anything to add to that?
I
Anything?
hate talking about that man because I don't think he's worth my breath.
I know, but sometimes he does something that's newsworthy. He's not my particular favorite either, but and again, don't buy a Tesla. There are other EVs out there. That's my plug. That's my anti. Would it be an anti Tesla plug?
Yes.
Okay, that's my anti Tesla plug.
Good job.
So in the world, your other favorite subject, sports. It's time for the sports report. This is where we need music, like sports report music or something. Da-na-na, da-na-na. I think that's my off-key ESPN thing. Da-na-na, da-na-na. But okay, so Roger Federer, another GOAT, he said goodbye this week in the Laver match, in the Laver Cup. He officially retired after his loss. He and Rafa Nadal, his tennis bestie, his bestie, they played their final match, their doubles match. I want to say, I think that's the first time that they played doubles together, but they lost to Americans, Sock and Tiafoe. And Tiafoe's the guy who beat Rafa in the U.S. Open. So that was pretty sad. So I know we're going to take a moment of silence. I know you're heartbroken by Federer's retirement.
I'm just listening to you speak another language.
I'm going to get you into sports one day. I'm going to get you to watch a tennis match or an actual sporting event.
Sports, huh? Okay, we can talk. But tennis, no.
Oh my gosh. So when I'm thinking about joining a fall league, you wouldn't come if I invited you to watch me play. You wouldn't come?
I would come support you, of course. Oh, but okay. If I had a choice to go to a tennis match and you were like, hey, I got tickets to a tennis match, you want to come? No, I'm good.
So if I had tickets to Wimbledon,
I wouldn't go.
The U.S. Open or the French or
I would not go.
Oh my gosh.
I'd be bored out of my mind.
But it's always different when you're at the event live and in person.
If I'm bored on TV, I don't want to see it in person. I'm good.
See, I'm the opposite because I watch hockey if it's on, but it's not something that just has me engrossed. But I would go to an actual, if we had a hockey team, a professional hockey team here, I would go to the hockey game. I guess I'm just different like that. And even though I despise golf, if someone said, hey, I have tickets to the U.S. Open, or, I would go. Just to say, hey, I went.
Because that's another sport I'd never go see.
Yeah, I would go just to say I went, but that would probably be, now if it's just some random golfing event, I'm like, no, I'm good, dude. I'm real good on that. But okay, so LeBron James, he became the first NBA player to become $1 billion man. He's made $1 billion. Steph is the second one, and Steph Curry of
make $1 billion playing.
His deal is not going to be necessarily through playing. LeBron was through contracts and endorsements. So Steph, he's signing $1 billion. He reps Under Armour. That is his apparel contract is with Under Armour. He is signing a lifetime deal with Under Armour worth $1 billion. So, yeah. He's going to be $1 billion man. I ain't mad at him. I wish I knew how to play basketball like that.
So go Steph. Will he be $1 billion man? Seeing as how, isn't it over the lifetime? So doesn't he only get a certain amount every year?
Yeah, but when you put his net worth, they would have to consider that. I mean, when you put down his worth, that would be,
how is that part of his worth if it's over a time frame?
But
he doesn't get it all at once.
But it's kind of like the asshole who shall not be named being the richest man in the world. On paper, he's worth 250, 60 plus billion. But does he have that liquid? No.
But he has that in like stocks and everything like that. when you take
So,
all of his assets, it's worth that much. But for
and when you take off his assets in the contract, it's worth $1 billion. Over the lifetime of the contract, he is going to
well,
be.
over the lifetime of the contract.
But that's just
So
like saying if he signs a $500 million contract, if his next NBA contract is $1 billion,
he's
over the
not worth.
lifetime, over the lifetime of that,
I
he
wouldn't
will.
consider him to be a billionaire still,
Why not?
because you don't have assets worth $1 billion. You have a contract that ultimately will pay you $1 billion over a time frame, but you're not a billionaire because it's not like you got it up front. You didn't get the billion. He didn't get the $1 billion up front. He's going to get it over a time frame, so it's not part of his assets.
It's still going to put him in the billionaire category. So I will say that. I mean, does he have it liquid? No. But will he be a $1 billion man? Yes.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on that.
Okay. But anyway, go. Good job, Steph. Get the bag, Steph. Take it. However much they're gonna pay you, take it. So I'm interested to see if, because we know one of the things about the contract is, because we know that he's not going to be playing in the NBA. I'd say, Steph, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 max. Um, so I wonder if it's going to kind of transition like a Jordan thing through Nike. Is he going to step into designing? I know he has a say in his shoe, but is it going to be like a Jordan apparel brand, kind of like that for Jordan, like how they're going to transition that after he plays? That would be interesting to see. So speaking of basketball, did you hear about the Boston Celtics coach Ime Aduka being suspended for a year?
I did hear about that.
And he was suspended. For those of you who've been living under a rock and don't know, he was suspended a year for having an affair, a consensual affair. I will put that out there, with a woman who works for the team. So, what are your thoughts on that? Why are you laughing?
Nothing. Because I'm just thinking, I'm just like, sports is your thing, but I do have an opinion. I did listen to kind of like the storyline. I don't know the full gist of it. I don't know who the dude is. Didn't know who he was up until the story broke. Okay, never heard his name a day in my life up until the story broke. Did not know who Nia Long's significant other was up until the story broke. So I just want to put that out there, y'all. I didn't know who this dude was. Now, being consensual, I can definitely understand people want to focus on that it was a consensual relationship. But what also comes to mind is the fact that there is a power dynamic there. And we talk about that no matter the corporation, that there is going to be a power dynamic, especially when the man has more power than the woman in the company. And I think that's what ultimately I focus on is the problem. I probably see more is the power dynamics, the unbalance of the power dynamics, rather than the fact that it was a consensual relationship. Like, you want a consensual relationship, that's great. But the consequence is that how it you there is doubt. There can be, even if it's like a 1% doubt, there'll be doubt on when you have someone that is higher up in the company than you are. How 100% consensual can that relationship be? Or can they question, if certain things happen, like, do you feel that you can say no? Do you feel that you can turn down that person without it jeopardizing your career? And not saying that's the situation, but that's definitely, I feel, what comes to mind when you think of a head coach of the Celtics being in a relationship with someone who works in the, main office or something like that.
Well, word on the streets, because the streets be talking, and the streets are saying that the woman was the vice president's wife, who also works um, for the team. Um, so that I'm just like, homeboy, why are you shitting where you eat? Um, I have mixed feelings. I don't have mixed feelings about him. What he did was wrong. It was fucked up. You fucked up your family. you've brought an embarrassment to the team. So I'm my mixed feelings and my sympathies are not with him. Um, I I don't know where to go with the. I understand what you were saying about the power dynamics. I just don't know where to go with that because I'm going to say that I'm going to focus on the fact that it's consensual, and I'm not going to go. I'm not going to focus on anything else other than that until we know for sure. And that's the other part of this is I'm pissed off that they've got me agreeing with Stephen A. Smith, who I rarely agree with these days. Um, and he said this. I don't like the way he delivered the message, especially when he was talking to Malika Anderson. I think he was rude as fuck and disrespectful in the way that it came across. But I watched the whole clip and I listened to what he was saying, aside from the way he was dealing with her. He said this from the beginning. They either need to fire him, like there's something going on here that we don't know, and we still don't know all of the details to this. Because if it was so egregious, and if there was something along the lines of power dynamic where it was consent, and this is what I'm going to say about that, consensually coerced. Does that make sense where I'm trying to go with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if it was a consensual coercion type thing, then fire him. Why are you just suspending him for the whole year and then saying that it his thing with the team? So there has to be some type of clause in his contract to to negate that as to why you can't fire him, especially if it really was with the VP's wife. And if it was your boss's wife, you're just a jack. You're an even bigger jackass. Pride comes before the fall. I like, dude, you really are a jackass. So it's just like so much going on here, and it's turning into a PR nightmare. On one hand, I'm glad they did it before training camp starts because we're coming into October, and I think within the next week or two, couple of weeks, NBA training camp is going to start. But the Celtics are going to have to come out with a little bit more information. I mean, I'm not saying out the woman, I'm not saying give her name, I'm not saying do any of that. But you can't, this is going to turn into a PR nightmare because, like he said, whoever leaked it, um, you had to know that people are going to want to know more information. They're going to want to know, like, you made sure to put out that it was consensual so it wouldn't be a harassment thing, but it's still like it's still not enough out there for you to know. What he did was fucked up, but I'm like, okay, if it was that fucked up for you to suspend him for a year, like that has to be bad. So what was the warning? They say that he's known since July, shortly after the finals ended, that they were investigating this. So, had you been warned to stay away from the woman before? Had people in the organization known? Have they told y'all? HR came to you both, or came to you and said, "Hey, you need to end this," and you didn't, and that's why you get a year. Because again, um, it's like again, got me agreeing with Stephen A. Smith. He's not the first coach to do this. He won't be the last coach to do this. So is it because it again supposedly, allegedly was the VP's wife? You know, did you not follow through and stay away from her when you were supposed to? Did you not end it? Like there's something more here for the suspension to be so long. Um, and it has to be something more for you guys to have not covered it up, because if to me, if it was a shorter suspension, you could have gotten away with he violated team rules. And it's starting to make a little bit more sense as to why Kevin Durant didn't go, because at one point it was all but a done deal that Kevin Durant was going to end up in Boston this summer. Like everybody was waiting for it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he announces that he's staying in New Jersey. And people are like, well, why is KD staying in New Jersey? Because nothing, I mean, not New Jersey, sorry, still thinking old school, the Nets, Brooklyn. Um, when he's when Steve Nash is still there, he still hates Steve Nash. The general manager's still there, he still hates the general manager, and Kyrie Irving is still batshit crazy. So it's starting to make a little bit more sense if they knew if it, if it got back to KD that, hey, this might not be the situation you want to come into right now. So it's like, dude, you fucked it up all the way around. And then on top of that, Nia Long just packed up your family. You've known about this shit since July, and she just now packed up your family and moved them to Boston 2 weeks ago. So I'm like, yeah, I don't have any sympathy for him, really. I just need to know more information, if that makes sense. I went on my little rant.
It's okay. Go for it. You're passionate.
So that's where I come down on it. But I do get what you're saying about the power dynamic. So I'm just gonna wait and see or comment on the if it was a consensually coerced type of thing until we know more information. So do you think we need to know more information?
I don't care, but I'm guessing people who are fans of basketball and who really follow, you know what? No, I'm gonna change my mind. No, you don't. Like, you figured out what the consequence is. Why do we need to know more of the details of it? That's just us being nosy and just want to satisfy our curiosity. But do people need to actually know what really went down? No.
I on one hand I agree with you. I don't need, like I said, I don't need to know the details. I don't need to know if it's the woman. I don't need to know her name. I don't need to know her position in the company. I don't need to even know if it really was the VP's wife, like the streets are saying. All I want to know is, what was it? What was so egregious? Especially if it truly was consensual, and I'm not going with the coercion part, even if it was consensual, what made it so egregious that it warranted a year suspension? It's the length, and it's the length, it's the amount of time that is getting me. Because basically he's getting the same suspension, and we talked about it a few episodes ago, as the asshole owner of the Phoenix Suns, who created a whole ass toxic environment. um, do you remember that story?
I do.
Okay. So it's basically like he's getting the same suspension as that dude for having an affair. So that's where I want more details. I don't need to know the salacious details. I just need to know what happened to make the suspension so long. Does that
Why?
make sense? Because it doesn't match. It doesn't match up. Like I said, he's
But
not the
is it going to change anything if they give you the actual detail of it? Or is it just going to satisfy your curiosity on, you need to know so that you can completely, like, understand, like, you personally can fully understand the situation, but does the public actually need to know the details? Or is
as
it
far
just the curiosity? Everybody wants the curiosity of, because people are going extreme on what it possibly is. So just to kind of taper down the curiosity, everybody's like, okay, we need to know exactly, like, wait, how did we get to the point where he's suspended for a year? Like, I just don't see why we
I,
need to know more details, but
because of the because and that's why, and I get that you're not a sports fan. So usually when someone does something, the suspension, you don't go from 0 to 60 from A to Z with this. So that's what I'm saying. And again, were there multiple warnings? What happened? What did he do besides having an affair, which is bad on its face? I get that. But indeed, if it was truly consensual, what did he do? Was this a stipulation in his contract? What made it? The punishment in this case, from what we know, doesn't fit the crime. Does that make sense?
oh, I
Because
hear what you're saying. I just think at the end of the day,
so
it's more, I don't think the public actually needs to know what what happened to lead to
well,
him getting a year suspension. I think it's more on, y'all want to know, but do you need to know? No.
as fans, yes. But I mean, they can't. And also from a PR standpoint, they're going to have to say something. They're going to have to give a little bit more, because this is going to take, especially the first part of the season. Like I said, I don't think they thought it would blow up like this. I don't know if they planned for it to leak the way they did, But this is something that they're going to have. This is something that they're going to have to answer. If they don't answer it, if the PR department doesn't come out and answer it, then trust me, they're on media day. This is all their players are going to be asked about. So yeah, they are going to have to come out with more details. Again, skip the salaciousness. I don't care about her name. I don't care if she really is the VP's wife. Just what is it that made it so bad that it warranted a year suspension if it was indeed truly a consensual relationship? Because again, he's not the first coach to do it, and he definitely won't be the last. So why does he get a year? I'm not saying a suspension wasn't warranted. I'm just saying the length, especially when you give an owner who's done far more egregious things the same amount of time. So the amount of time that he was suspended, and again, the suspension came from the team, not the NBA itself. So why are they on par? I don't get that. That's my thing. But I understand what you're saying. So and I'm pissed off that y'all got me again agreeing with Stephen A. Smith. Even though I do like him when he plays Brick on my show, General Hospital. That's a plug. Be sure to watch General Hospital. Keep soaps alive. Like how I did that, huh? Okay. But one person who I'm sure is happy about the Ime Adoka news, because it took him off of the front pages for being a sleazeball and an asshole, was Adam Levine. The front man of Maroon 5. Are you a Maroon 5 fan?
I am.
I am too.
He's always been an asshole, though. I'm not a fan of Adam Levine. I'm a fan of the group.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So did this take you off? Did this put you off of Maroon 5?
No, because I still think Maroon 5 has Adam Levine as the face, but he's not the whole group. If you're a true fan of Maroon 5, then you would know that there's more to the group than just the person who just became the most popular member. So I'm a fan of Maroon 5's music, but Adam Levine can kick rocks.
Yeah. I agree. I've never. I love Maroon 5. I love his voice. He's very talented, but he's always been an asshole. And they say even before Maroon 5 hit big, he was still an asshole. Like if if anything, fame did not change him. It just gave him a license to. It just he's just who he's always been. But what he did, he also cheated on his wife, Beate Prinsloo, who's a former Victoria's Secret model. Not that that has anything to do with it, but she's pregnant. And I think the cheating part didn't surprise me because, it didn't. If you're surprised that Adam Levine cheated, then I don't know what to say. I got a bridge to sell you, um, you know. But the thing that gets me is how can you be so fucking callous to ask your side piece if you can name your soon to come child, your soon to be born child after her? That's the part that wants me to be like, that motherfucker deserves to be throat punched. Like, for real. And if I was his wife, okay, on top of finding out that you had an affair, that you were cheating with some IG model at that, you slid into this hoe's DM. Sorry, not a literal hoe. I'm not shaming her. I'm not slut shaming, just a figure of speech. But you slid into her DMs, and then you going to ask her. So you tell me, so how's this conversation go? Yo, B, babe, if this is a girl, I think we should name it Summer. Even if it's a boy, I think we should name it Summer. Oh, really? Why? Just my favorite season. I'm really feeling summer lately. Like,
No, it's Sumner.
whatever. Summer, you know. So yeah, I'm just trying to imagine how that conversation would go. And then when I find out that that's the name of your side piece, oh, I'm cutting your dick off. I'm
I'm sure
blaming
he
them.
didn't say that. See, so based on like kind of the development of the story is the feeling that I got was they had stopped talking for a while. And this was his way of getting back into her good graces, of starting up a conversation again, was sending her that random text, because she said like that's ultimately what led to her revealing everything, was him sending that text message because his wife is pregnant. saying about how, oh, you know, we wanted, like, what do you think about me naming my son Sumner? And so then she decided to reveal, like, you know, the affair that they had. But I don't think he went. I feel like it was more on trying to get back into the good graces of the model, rather than he had talked to his wife about it. He would just double check with her to make sure it was good.
I'm still thinking that I don't give a fuck. Because even if we did have that conversation, hypothetically, realistically, I'm still cutting off the dick, and I'm blaming it on pregnancy hormones.
Okay, I'm not gonna cut off his dick.
Just the fact that you even decided, you could have found another way to try to slide back into her DMs and try to bring my unborn child into your sleaziness. And I don't even have children, and I find that just egregious and disgusting and worthy of getting your winkers cut off.
I don't know. I didn't focus on the name thing. I know everybody was. I did not focus on the name thing. My focus was on the fact of, like, yeah, we assume that a lot of these celebrities are cheating on their wives, so that when it comes out, we're not necessarily surprised. It was kind of the same with Justin Timberlake. I wasn't necessarily surprised when you found out that he had cheated on Jessica Biel,
He
but
was
at this,
cheating before they got married.
I'm sorry.
Nobody should have been. He cheated before they got married. Nobody should have been surprised by that
Well, he was
shit.
dating. Who he was. I forgot who was the other person he was dating. It was her and a dancer. Oh God, I forgot who the dancer was. He was dating two people at the same time. Jessica Biel just happened to be one of them. And then in the end, he chose Jessica Biel, and
And
they
he
ended up
still
getting.
cheated after they got
Yeah,
after she thought she was the only one. Ain't
but
nobody
I
surprised
just.
by Timberlake.
But we weren't, like, there was no surprise on finding out that Justin Timberlake cheated on Jessica Biel. Like, even after they married, like, the before they were married, okay, but after they were married, it's kind of like we don't necessarily have faith in celebrity marriages, so it wasn't the surprise on. Like, I was more on the fact of saying, like, dude, another one. Like, you just he basically, like, proved my point on me believing that he's a fucking asshole. Like, he's a selfish, self-centered, arrogant asshole. I've always gotten that vibe from Adam Levine, and which throws me off on how I want to hope that it was a fake friendship between him and what's the country dude?
Blake Shelton.
Yes. Um because I just have a better I have a better mindset about Blake Shelton than I do about Adam Levine. But so it wasn't necessarily surprising on the fact that he cheated, but then you denied it. Like, I could fucking care less about what you wanted to name your child. Like, people are focusing on that, but I'm focused on the cheating thing. Like, you married a fucking Victoria's Secret model who I want to say could have had anyone. Did she date Leo?
Mm-mm.
She didn't date Leo.
Mm-mm.
She
And
had
we know
another
she, and
famous boyfriend though.
she would have aged out of Leo's camp anyway. Although he is now dating or seeing officially Gigi Hadid, who's 27. So I guess they can blow up the only 25 rumors. But
No, they can't. They can't. She's an outlier. She ain't the norm. But yeah, like, so, but she's had another famous boyfriend. I just don't remember who it is, and I don't feel like looking it up. But you basically dated a fantasy woman. You married a fantasy woman. You had it all, and then you still cheated on her. And now you're lying about the fact that you cheated on her, because he's saying, "Oh, I sent inappropriate text messages and DMs, but I didn't actually cheat on her." Like, don't do that. Like, just fess up to your bullshit. Fess up to your bullshit. I can fucking care less what you wanted to name your kid. Like, that is not the most important thing of this. It's the fact of saying that, once again, y'all prove us right on believing that celebrity husbands just cheaters. Like, none of y'all are faithful. None of
but
y'all are faithful.
but
Can,
see,
can
to
I
me,
get can I get one faithful celebrity husband? One, just one.
and see, to me, it's not even the celebrity thing. I'm gonna take that out because those stupid memes about, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce,
Which he didn't.
Gerard Piqué cheated on Shakira, Halle Berry was cheated on, Mariah Carey was cheated. All these people, they just, and I'm like, it's not, celebrity men don't own the market on cheating. Okay, Broke ass motherfuckers, broke ass unfamous motherfuckers cheat just like the rich and famous do too. So take that out of it. To me, the thing was, I'm pissed off. To me, it is the thing about bringing your child into this, because if you even, it's not cute. It wasn't a cute move. It wasn't a flex. You could have found a million different ways to apologize for your bullshit, to try to get back into her good graces, besides bringing your unborn child into this. That's just low. Like, keep them out of it. Even as a joke. Everything, some things just aren't funny. You know. So that to me is it. I'm not even stuck on the cheating thing. Like I said, I'm not surprised. Men are men. It doesn't matter that she's a Victoria's Secret model. If a man's going to cheat, he's going to cheat, no matter where he ranks on the A list, the celebrity list, even if he's on the fucking list, or how much money he has in his bank account. So,
But so I just think because you're a public figure, so it plays into the mindset of all men cheat, and that's not actually true. Majority of men are not cheaters, but when it comes to celebrities, and you're a public figure, and I think you play into the mindset of, well, what do you expect? Because they're celebrities. So it's kind of like saying, like, no celebrity is faithful to their wives or faithful to their girlfriends. And I can understand people saying, well, why do you care? Like, it's not like they're not important. Yes, they are. Like, I'm an entertainment buff. I'm an entertainment buff. I follow celebrity lives. I just do. I'm just not obsessed with them the way other people are. And I look to them and I'm just like, come on, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. And it's just another celebrity that has proven me right. And that's the disappointment. In Can I have some examples of just public faithfulness? Because it does portray this mindset of, well, Adam Levine cheated and he had a Victoria's Secret model. So how can you expect a regular man to be faithful to you? Like, it ultimately plays into our stereotypes that we have about regular everyday folk that we meet. And at least for me, it plays into my mindset of, like, it just kind of proves me right on whenever I think of, well, all men cheat. You're just proving me right, and you're a public figure. And I'm sorry, like, at the end of the day, when you're a celebrity, whether you want to be or not, there is a certain role model, like, role that you play in people's lives. And just to continuously live up to the stereotype that is out there. Like, I thought you were an asshole, and you just proved me right that you are a fucking asshole. Like, can I get some celebrities that I enjoy their music or I love their movies, to just prove me wrong? Just, can I get some good examples of celebrity husbands who do not fucking cheat on their wives, who, and I'm not talking about like the Denzels and everything like that. That's an older generation. But can I get some people in my generation, the millennials, who are faithful to their wives? Like, let me get some examples of that. And that's what I'm talking about. Huh?
He's cheated. He Earlier on, he's talked about it. So, but I'm just
but
gonna
I'm talking
say,
about in our generation. Can I get some millennials who prove us wrong on that stereotype that ultimately trickles down into our everyday lives?
yeah, I'm not looking for it. I just want you to be a semi decent human being. Like, you're human, whatever it is. To me, it was the kid thing. It wasn't the cheating thing. Like, don't bring my child into this. You're getting your dick cut off. Speaking of, dicks, assholes, however you want to call it. Kanye. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but he said he doesn't read. But he has a school where he makes the family sign an NDA. And I was just like, God, really? You don't read? And so he obviously reads something, because he has to read those contracts. But he's had a falling out with Adidas and Gap. Adidas, they're the shoe company that made his ugly ass Yeezys. Even when Kanye still had even when he was in his right mind, I never thought those shoes were cute. I always hated them. And he had a Gap line, or a collaboration with the Gap, that faltered. And he said something very interesting. He said that there's a common denominator. And I'm like, dude, if you always find fault with everything and everyone and you get mad because you don't get your way, the common denominator is you. So it's just yay being yay. You have anything to add to that?
His school is uncredited. He does not have history classes in his academy, Donda Academy. There's no history classes based on the two articles that I read.
Because
He
you know
has
slavery was a farce. My bad,
well
my bad.
he
I
believes
agree
that,
with
but
Eddie again.
it's just a sadness on you have people who are sending their kids to this school, and are you sending your kids to get a better education, or are you sending it because it's Kanye West school? But just the fact of saying, like, the one he does not they don't teach history in his school, but they teach Christian beliefs. And I'm just
His
it's just
Christian
sad when you
beliefs.
send your kids to a school that, and I know there got to be some black parents that are sending their children to Donda Academy when his school does not teach history, does not teach world history, U.S. history, world cultures, just no history. They don't even teach government so they can know how their government runs and why it runs the way that it runs. And that
But
is
he
an
wants to be
absolute
in politics.
and he wants to be in politics. It's an absolute disappointment on that. It's not accredited. It's been there for about 3 years, which means that next year the kids who are juniors would be seniors if that's the flow of the grades. Because it doesn't say anything about exactly what the grade levels are, which grades they're in, if they have different grade levels, or if it's kind of like a homeschool environment. But they're going to graduate, and they're like, you're not going to be looked upon as in, I want to accept you into my university when it's time for you to go, because you don't actually have a high school diploma, because your school that you're attending is not accredited. And so it's just a lot of problematic things that goes into that, which I absolutely hate, which is very, very different from LeBron James and his school that he opened up in, was it Cleveland?
Yeah, Akron.
Yeah, that he
Akron.
opened up in Cleveland, Ohio. The charter school that he opened up, which is very, very different. I think Donda Academy is just literally um oh my god, when they like want to glorify themselves.
I think it's I think it's a grift, and I think it's a showpiece, and
And
it sucks.
it's a oh my
A
god.
vanity project.
Thank you. I knew, I was like, Eddie, you gonna get this for me. Come on now. It's a vanity project. That's ultimately what it is. It's a vanity project, and people are playing into that, and they need to stop. Like, stop giving Kanye West your money. He's a fucking idiot and an embarrassment to the black community. Just want to say that. Sorry.
And no, I agree with you. I mean, I think it says something, and it kind of goes back to that other asshole from Florida that we were talking about, and the way their education system is going. When you want to stop, what you have to ask yourself, why do they not want to teach these things? Why do you not want people to learn history? You can't change it. The truth is the truth, you know. So why do you not want people to learn history? Why do you not want people to learn government? Why are you purposely trying to keep the masses ignorant? So it's a bigger problem, and even more so than the asshole in Florida doing it. I agree with you. I have a problem with Kanye doing it, a black man doing it to our own people. That to me is the even bigger problem. And considering your mom was an educator, how the fuck can you feel comfortable with this grift? Like, are you that far gone? And
Yeah.
probably yes, but it's just like, wow. What mental illness, and it's getting to the point where you can't even continue to
It's
blame all the
not.
bullshit on
It has
business or
nothing to do
mental
with his
illness.
bipolar. It has nothing to
It's
do with his
nothing to do
bipolar.
with it at all. So yeah, but like I said, when there's always a problem with everybody, um, it's gonna come a time when you have to realize, boo, separate yourself from the sycophants and realize that you are the common denominator in all these fucking issues. And I hope that even though it's a private school, and it probably is under some type of private religious exception, I hope they find a way to shut it down because it's doing more harm than good. You know. Speaking about that, what did you think about the Grayson Chance story? He's the latest person to come out and speak on Ellen and her bad behavior. Bad, what would you call it at this point? Her just bad character?
She's a bitch.
You said that with some question, like you weren't quite sure, or were you like
Like,
Eddie's the cusser? I'm not the cusser.
I
I'll say it.
just put it out there. I was just waiting for it to see if like you would confirm because
Oh,
that's what
yeah,
I'm thinking.
we
You
talked
know.
about before, like
We did. I I put this story on the ReWine list, and because I jumped off of the Ellen train very, very early on. I was a fan of hers at the very beginning. I did fall for her okey doke, for the persona that she portrays in public. And then I jumped off really, really quick. Like it didn't vibe with me fully. Like it just felt very fake. Like she just seemed so fake to me. And so to kind of hear Grayson Chance like talk about how it was so fake and she wouldn't speak to him, and then as soon as the cameras were on, it was like, oh, how are you doing, like, is everything great, like, oh, it's so great to have you on the show. And I'm just like, that sounds about right. Like that fakeness, like she did that to perfection for decades. She's done that to perfection, and it's made her a multi-millionaire. And it's crazy that only now all of this is coming out. It is also really, really sad that um she she was made famous on her coming out story, and she never like there was no involvement whatsoever in like having any type of real relationship with Grayson once he refused to be Justin Bieber 2.0. And as soon as he didn't want to be Justin Bieber 2.0, it was just like he was nobody, because she just wanted to make money off of him. It wasn't trying to help him for like, with his talent. It wasn't about trying to help him with his talent. So at the end of the day, I will just say that once again, this just proves what I've thought about Ellen, that there is a fakeness to her, that a lot of people fell for her okey doke, but this just proves again that that fake smile just, yeah, it's scary.
yeah,
It's just scary on, yeah, she's not a great person, and I am kind of happy on it coming out now, but I also am kind of sad that it's coming out at the end of her reign in the talk show world.
yeah. I think I'm with you. I, besides General Hospital, I didn't get paid for that, but I love the show. um, besides
That's her second plug, y'all. Second plug.
second plug, let you know I'm serious about my GH. Um, besides, uh, I didn't watch a lot of daytime television after Oprah, but I was willing to accept Ellen was the heir apparent. It would be one of those shows where I used to tape it, and then if someone was on, especially before you could go back and get the YouTube clips of what you wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone was on that I wanted to watch or that I wanted to hear the interview with, I would go back and watch that or the musical guest, right?
Yeah.
So how I got off of Ellen is that I figured out when she would talk over certain guests and she would like rush them through their thoughts or wouldn't let them answer or just kind of, so she didn't do, I guess if you didn't study it, she didn't do as good a job of hiding it as uh, to me as other people thought. And then for a while I thought, okay, maybe it's just me. Am I the only one noticing that she is rude
No.
as fuck? Um, so that's how I got off of her. I was just like, I don't want to sit here and watch her talk over people. I can read a magazine or that they're doing, or I can watch them on another show. So I was just like, that to me. So when it started coming out, I guess pandemic, right? When everything was shut down during
Yeah.
2020, it was one of the first news stories we talked about. Um, when it started coming out during the pandemic, I wasn't really that surprised. Maybe I was surprised that people were talking about it so openly, But 2020 was the year of fuck it. I don't know if we're gonna make it through this bitch. I have no fucks to give. So people were just all the shit was being laid bare. Um, but I think what surprised me about this story, I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised. I was surprised that her cruelty extended to a child. Does that make sense?
Yes. No, I hear where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I wasn't surprised that because he basically co-signed on all the shit that the other people who've been brave enough to speak out have said. But what surprised me is that she aimed that cruelty towards a child because when this happened, he was a child, and I do remember him being billed as like the next big thing, and he really is a talented singer. But then he just kind of fell off, and it's like, okay, was he one of those kids who became a victim of the music? But then it makes sense. It's like, so why don't you want him to? Why not give him the opportunity to find his own lane? But why try to turn him into a carbon copy of Justin Bieber? So,
Because
yeah,
she wanted fast money, and JB is huge, like one of the biggest talents in the country, if not the world. And so she wanted easy money, and that's how like you weren't about the music or his talent, you were about making a quick buck. And when he refused to just allow you to make a quick buck because he wanted to be about his talent, that's when you threw him to the side, and he was nobody to you, and he wasn't anybody to you anymore.
yeah. So, not surprised about that. Speaking of music, last music story. Really quick. I know you could care less, but Apple is replacing Pepsi as the sponsor of the Super Bowl halftime show. Apple Music, that is. So, I don't know how that's going to affect the Super Bowl halftime show, but just putting it out there. Um, Awards. The big Emmy winners. I know you didn't watch the Emmys, but did you see Cheryl Lee Ralph's acceptance speech? The clips.
Well, I'm not a fan of Abbott
Ab-
Elementary.
well,
I love the fact that it's become a big deal, but I don't watch the show, so I didn't see any acceptance speeches.
uh, okay. Well, I loved her acceptance speech, and I'm happy that she won. Someone who's been in the industry for so long and who has always seemed to have been underrated. So, congrats to her. Zendaya also won again for her role in not Secession. Secession won. It beat out Squid Game for best drama. Not surprising anyone, but Zendaya won for her role in Euphoria.
Oh,
And the guy,
Zendaya. Can I say
and
something about Zendaya?
yeah,
Can I just say how much I love? Now, here's the thing. I didn't watch any clips, right? But when it comes to Zendaya, because like she's part of like one of my favorite couples in Hollywood right now. And when they asked her like, who's the first person that you told? And she was like, well, I brought my mom. So I told my boyfriend. I was just like, that's so sweet. Tom Holland was the first person that she told. He's
that she
adorable.
won.
I'm sorry. I am absolutely in love with Tom Holland. Like he's going on my list.
Oh, okay, cool. Um, and then well, I can't pronounce his name, but the actor from Squid Game, he won Best Actor. So Squid Game did leave with some awards. It wasn't completely shut out, and Ted Lasso won Best Comedy. But the Golden Globes are returning to NBC after a
Mm-hmm.
year off. They will be on January the 10th. Are you going to watch?
Probably.
I am too. I want to see what how they revamp it. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see if it's worth it. They only have a 1 year deal from NBC, so we'll see. I guess NBC. I guess NBC is like we're giving you a trial basis too because it's returning sooner than everyone thought. But they've been sold under complete new management and leadership, so we'll see how it panned out. But they offered Chris Rock. They offered him not a bag, but a few bags to host, and he turned it down. They're saying they offered him a shit ton of money to host, and he said no. He also turned down hosting the Oscars next year. So,
I would have
um,
too.
yeah, because people, we see if you still, um, I understand. Like, I don't want your sympathy gigs, Although I might have taken the money just because you giving me the money, but we'll see if you still want him to host again. And not to say he's never hosted award shows, but if you still want him to host in a couple of years when all this shit with Will Smith has died down some more, then come back at me. So I don't necessarily blame him for turning it down. Don't worry, darling, which we're going to be discussing next week on the wine on the podcast. Y'all see, I'm getting them confused. Is the number one movie in the country. I'm really excited to see that movie.
Is
Are you?
it? A little
Yeah.
disappointed about that.
Oh, that it replaced
The Woman King,
the
yeah.
Woman King. Yeah, I was hoping the Woman King would get another week at least at number one.
Yo, did you hear the drama about that? I did not know the full drama of the Woman King. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, what was it?
About the group of I call them New Black. And how they boycotted the movie so much that even though it was the number one movie when it premiered, it did have an effect on how well the Woman King did, because they promoted as in boycott the Woman King, which became like trending on Twitter and everything like that. And then their explanation for it. And then they just weren't. Oh, I have a friend who is what do they call them? Fundamental blacks.
What the fuck is a fundamental
I
black?
know, right? So a fundamental black is like, they also call themselves descendants of slaves, right?
Aren't we all? Never mind. Okay, go ahead.
But like their full focus is on promoting Black America, but also like going back to their roots. And it's kind of like a mindset of like, we were all kings and queens in Africa, and
Bullshit.
yeah, well, we know because we know our history, but just kind of like these ideas that they sell, or like the fact of like, they truly believe that one day they want to move back to Africa. They want to move back to the motherland.
Bullshit. Go.
Oh, I feel you on that, because I ain't going with them. I'm gonna stay right here in America. But so they call themselves fundamental blacks, or descendants of slaves. DOS is another name for them, and it's gaining traction in our community. I do have one of my best friends is part of that group, and me and her get into it every single time we talk, because we just have very, very different fundamental ideas of slavery and what it means to be a descendant of a slave, and but also living in this country and being an American. So because of that, they boycotted the Woman King, refused to go see it. So while we feel that, or I feel, let me not talk for you, Eddie. I feel that the Woman King should have been a movie that was more supported by the Black community. Like, we should have went out in droves to see this movie. They said no, because they felt that it was going to water down the role that tribe played in the transatlantic slave trade. And I was just like, you don't know unless you went to see it. So you're basically basing this on like whatever you read online, rather than going to see it yourself, and also knowing the history and being able to watch a movie and appreciate what it's celebrating, but also knowing the history of what you're watching as well. And so just want to put that out there, because I feel like that could have been one reason, besides the fact that Don't Worry Darling has such a huge media drama going on and everything like that, on why the Woman King didn't do as well as they should have.
Yeah, look, as I say, there's no such thing as bad publicity, except for when it comes to blackness or black movies or movies. I agree with you. It goes back to what we are talking about history. Let's be realistic. We know that tribes participated in the slave trade. We know that some of them did it to become rich, but we also know that a lot of the tribes did not know necessarily what was happening over here. They thought it was the same thing. They thought they were selling their prisoners of war, the same way they would have done in Africa or what have you. When a lot of these tribes found out the wars, they tried to stop. Mm-hmm. And some were threatened, some were able and successful, powerful enough to where they could stop. Some were threatened with their own lives and their own families. So it's very complicated. The history of slavery, not just here in America, but in Africa, is very, very complicated. There is no perfect thing for it. Okay. There's enough complicity to go around. So it goes back to that whole thing. Know your history. You're not always going to like everything that's happened in history. You're not always going to understand it, why it happened. But like I say, the facts are the facts. You can't change it. You don't have to agree with the truth. You don't have to like the truth, but it is the truth. So to me, that's bullshit. You know it's a movie, so you know it's going to be dramatized. It's based on a true story. So again, that whole I'm fundamental black, I'm more black than you, I'm this, that's bullshit to me. The struggle is real for all of us because at the end of the day, all they see is black, and they don't care where we come from. They don't care how much money we have in the bank. All they see is black.
I
So
agree.
that's just another way for our community to be divided. Um, appreciate your history, understand your history, but don't let it tear you down because again, that's just another tool of division. And there I go on my soapbox. I'm sorry.
We both
Let me,
got on there a little bit.
yeah, but but going back to this, I still want to see Don't Worry, Darling. And I agree with you. I was hoping the Woman King would get at least another week. I know this is the slow movie season. We're getting into the part where the movies had been shut down from 2020. I think last year, the early part of this year, we got most of the movies that had been withheld during that time. So um, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully. Speaking of movies, James Bond casting season. Idris Elba has officially come out, said he doesn't want the role, probably because the producers have said they're looking for someone. They want that Marvel commitment. They're looking for like a 10-year commitment. I think one movie every 2 years, maybe five movies. Um, so they want someone to be in the next series. Um, so I still say he would have made a great Bond, but we'll see who actually ends up with the
I,
role. Huh?
I think I think Idris Elba's name was more put out there by fans than it was by the um people who control the Bond series.
Well, no, they said that they wanted him. They talked to the producers, Barbara Broccoli. I think, from what I read, there's a lot of skirting around, inferring. I think they may have actually had serious talks with him about taking over the role. But just when it came down to the time commitment, the movie commitment that they wanted, it seems like that's when he is like, nah, I'm good. That's like too long. So maybe, I don't know. But we'll see. I don't. I can't say they didn't want him. I can't. I just still think he would have been a great Bond regardless. So we
Yeah,
will see.
no, I'm gonna disagree with that, but we're okay.
Yeah,
Give me
we've
some.
had that.
I've always
We've had,
been somebody younger. Yeah, I've always been. Let's go young.
we've had that argument.
Yeah,
I would love to see a prequel series or something, and I'm with you. Maybe kind of build it up and kind of start it over again. And with Bond, because 007 is um, just the alias, they could actually go younger, especially since this Bond died. Okay. Speaking of divisiveness and black people, you heard about the Little Mermaid black? I call it the Blacklash.
the Blacklash.
Basically, they pissed off because Little Mermaid gonna be black
Why?
because there aren't black mermaids,
They're not white mermaids either.
but they damn sure not white. They damn sure not black. My bad.
They're damn sure not white either.
What are they?
Mermaids. Mermaids don't have a race. Their race is
But
mermaid.
But what do they look like? Like we know the bottom half is a fish, but what is the top half? Is it translucent?
Well, the but my thing is that the top half is human.
But what color is the human?
What? Why it gotta be a color? They're mermaids. That's their race. That means there's black mermaids, white mermaids, Hispanic mermaids, Asian mermaids, Middle Eastern mermaids,
Well,
African mermaids.
nah, see, now you done gone too far. You done gone way, way too far when you said there was African mermaids. According to the mermaid police, mermaids are
Mermaid
white.
police.
Okay,
Because Disney
mermaid
made them white. Because at a
because
point Disney didn't have any black princesses.
mermaids made because mermaids are white.
Mhm.
Halle Berry been taking all the heat, all the smoke, because she's a black mermaid, and also apparently they big mad because the House of Dragon, the Game of Thrones spinoff series, has some black main characters, and then that Lord of the Rings series got some black main characters. So incestuous dragons and shit, and elves and all of that, they not supposed to be black. Made up characters can't be black. They all have to be white,
But
like
that's
Santa
but
Claus.
that's coming from people who aren't fans of the series. I will never read J.R.R. Tolkien, like, ever. They look so boring to me. But at the same time, they have said that when there's an explanation of the character, they more go on, they're not going on skin color. Like, there's no explanation of exactly what is the skin color. They gear away from race, when it comes to those characters. So that's just white people feeling that Hollywood is moving away from being very Eurocentric. And every time that a movie or a character that they feel should automatically be white, it moves away from the Eurocentric viewpoint, then it
Santa
becomes
Claus
a
and
big,
Jesus. My
huh?
bad. I
Yeah.
said Santa
Then,
Claus and
then,
Jesus.
yeah, you're right. That then it becomes like a huge thing. But like, I just, I don't know, maybe I'm being blind. I just do not understand. I don't get it. I do not get it. Mermaid is a made up thing. All of this are made up characters.
Yeah.
Like,
Why?
but we're gonna get
Why?
it every time. Like, we're not surprised. Like, I find it nice that they're, showing these videos of, be like, oh, look, it's me on TV, which I'm like, is that real or did you plan that? But anyway, um, but we're gonna get that more, because I do believe, even though I'm not necessarily on board with Idris Elba being James Bond, I do believe in the future we're going to have a black Bond. That is going to be a huge deal. And it just goes from there on a lot of these characters that was never an option decades ago when they were created, being black characters. Now, here's my thing. I do have a problem with the fact that it's only black characters. Like, I feel sometimes that Asians don't get the representation that they deserve, or Hispanics, which is the largest minority population in this country, doesn't get the representation that they deserve, as well. I do love and appreciate the fact that, we can celebrate when we get our representation in the media, because it's been so long since we've had it. But the same thing goes for Hispanics and Asians, and they don't get the representation either. Um,
Well, gosh, the one of the girls from um in the not in the Heights, but from West Side Story, she was cast as a princess, and she also got flack. So, they I that's why I say representation matters. I Anything with minorities in it, I'm watching, I'm supporting. I may
yeah,
not know the full story, I may not like the full story. I try to highlight it all because when it comes, we're all
it's just a big
in
deal.
the same boat, and it's a big deal. And I think because um, historically, I think it goes, and again, it goes back to slavery and then the civil rights movement, Jim Crow, and all of that kind of stuff. Everyone was discriminated against. Don't get me wrong, all the minorities, because let's talk about those internment camps during World War II that nobody likes to talk about. Um, so it all has those historical roots. So I'm just supporting us all. You know, um, like Issa say, I'm here for anybody that's black and brown. I'm here for us. I'm down for us all. For
Hmm.
the people of color, the struggle is real, and I think that once one group has a major breakthrough, I think it will be easier. Once we one group breaks that glass ceiling, I think it will be easier for the others to come in and break it too. So again, I'm all with John Leguizamo. Uh, if you're making a movie about fucking Fidel Castro, why the fuck are you casting James Franco?
A full on white dude
Like for
who's
real, for
only
real.
like, and he's not even like Cuban in any way, shape, or form. He got Portuguese in him. Like, come on now.
So that's where I'm at with it. So whenever they have whenever other groups have casting complaints, I understand it. I get it. So let's all get in on it because there's enough. We all have our stories to tell, and we all of our stories deserve to be told. Like, how the fuck are you going to have Latino Heritage Month in the middle of the fucking month?
I never get that. Like it
Like,
goes from September to October. But isn't there a reason like a famous person or something like that? I don't remember.
I don't know, but I'm just like, really, dude, you can't start it on the first day of the month like everything else. So, the struggle's real. But I'm mad at Haley Berry's boyfriend, who is black, talking about he didn't realize racism was still a thing until his girlfriend
Yes.
caught the backlash. She thought it all ended with Martin Luther King. Excuse my French. Negro, where the fuck have you been?
I
Like,
saw that. But here's
it,
the thing, Eddie, we know. We know. Let's look at this
he wanted them
realistically.
new he
We
wanted them new blacks.
no, 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 no. He's one of the generations where if it didn't involve them, they don't know nothing about it and they don't care about it. You know, that's this generation now. Now, granted, I appreciate the teenagers of this generation who are informing themselves or who have parents or family members who are informing them and engaging them in conversation about what's going on in the world and what their past was. But you have a lot of teenagers nowadays who feel that if it doesn't involve me, if it's not particularly directly affecting my life right now, I don't know nothing about it and I don't care. And
Yeah,
I
like,
feel like her boyfriend is in that realm where he was like, oh shoot, like I thought this was done when MLK was like, I'm sorry, what? Dude.
you did were you I know you were alive in 2020. What
Yeah, like
yeah, dude, come
so
on.
George Floyd, Tamar Rice, like I'm like, come on, Breonna
Sandra Bland
Taylor,
for
like
Orlando Castile.
yeah, like you
All,
mean to tell me you don't know about none of those? You haven't been following the news on none of that? Like oh my
yeah,
gosh,
I was
darn
like,
it, this
you
I hope this is not
something.
our future. I
Thank you.
hope
Sometimes you just need to keep your mouth shut, baby. It'll
yes.
be okay. It'll be okay.
Educate
Um,
yourself before you talk.
yeah. James Earl Jones is he's 91 years old, and he's been voicing he is the OG voice of Darth Vader. He's been voicing him in the cartoons. Whenever there's a Darth Vader scene, that is his voice. He signed over the rights to his voice to Lucasfilm, um, to continue to use for Darth Vader. So, um, and through AI, they will always be able to use James Earl Jones's voice for the character of Darth Vader, which I think is really cool. And he didn't have to do it. He's 91, so not saying anything other than that he's 91, but it leads people to think that he's going to be retiring from that role soon. So, are you? Are you? I always forget. Are you a Star Wars fan?
I am more than Star Trek, even though I've seen both.
Okay. Um, for those of you who like NBC shows on Hulu, you're gonna have to go to Peacock. If you don't have Peacock, then you're just gonna have to watch it live or DVR it because Hulu has lost all the NBC shows. Um, so sad, pity. Did you watch Chicago PD?
I have not. I got to sit down and watch it. Maybe I'll watch it after we finish recording because
Yeah,
I definitely
I
got to see how they started the season.
yeah, I still don't know how it doesn't. It still doesn't give you a clue as how Jay is going to exit. So, but it's good. Okay. BTS released a new version of Yet to Come, leading up for the FIFA World Cup. Crush, my boy Crush is back. I can't wait for the EP to drop. He released the song Rush Hour with J Hope. Did you hear it?
Yes, and I hate it.
I'm not surprised.
It's
All right.
it's no, don't say that. Make it seem like I just hate everything. I don't like the style of songs that are coming out now. Like I'm not a fan necessarily of this style of songs. Like I feel like I just don't appreciate the artistry of it all. Um,
Um,
I
Go ahead.
love Crush, but this, yeah,
Did you like JB's song Go Up?
yes, I love it.
Okay,
I
well,
like his
see,
whole I like his whole CD. Like I think I love his sound, which is very different. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's not necessarily just because I did not like J Hope CD. I know I did not. I was one of those who hated it. But JB switched up his sound and he did it in a way like I saw the progression. Like I was just like I thought it was a great EP that he put. Look at me using the words that you be throwing out. I thought it was a great CD that he put out. I love the songs on it. I've listened to it. I've enjoyed it. I saw the performance. I thought he had fun with it. So yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a little bit sad when he has to enlist later on this year.
Yeah, it's still JB. It's still, it's just different. But I was gonna say Go Up and Rush Hour, they kind of have that same swingy jazz R&B undertone. Like you can hear the big band in them both.
JB does it
Um,
better.
okay. So that I think that I was like, okay, so is that where it's leaning? I have to listen a little more, but I noticed that like the similarity. So I was like, okay, so that's where we're going. What else? Oh, so JB. Oh, speaking of military, BTS, they sold out their Busan concert in a matter of seconds. Or all the tickets were gone in a matter of seconds. People are like, oh, we're gonna get the world tour announcement. Army, listen to me. Listen to me carefully. You are not getting a world tour announcement until the military announcement is official. Once they know what they're going to do about the military, then they can make plans for a world tour. Okay? I don't want to have to tell y'all that again.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
no, no. Let me add on to that. Army, listen to me clearly. They are on hiatus. Gosh darn it, y'all. Can they get a break? It hasn't even
Thank
been
you.
6 months. Like,
Let
take
them
a
do.
fucking chill pill. You are not the most important people in their lives right now. Like,
Wait a
I
minute.
mean, come on. I don't want them to have a world tour. No world tour, BTS. Take your fucking break. Take a whole year off, because I bet you when you come back, you're going to be bigger than you ever was before you left.
Thank
Like,
you.
take the
Take the
break.
time. Thank you. I'm with you. Thank you. And for the other thing, can they please release their solo projects? Like, give them time to do that. They all seem to be having fun. Jin, you see Jin recording and shit. He came to LA. Jamin's recording with different producers. Let them just live. Let them release their solo stuff and work on it, okay? Chill out. It'll be fine. In the meantime, study yourselves with Blackpink. That's what you need to worry about. Did you listen to the album?
I did.
And
There are a couple songs that really, got me. I liked it. I felt that it was Blackpink's sound. I have an issue with, and I'm gonna say it again. I think that Blackpink is like BTS. When BTS came out with their new songs, they weren't following the trend of what is currently going on in music, especially with the fourth generation and their sound. They came out with their BTS sound, like, like what you know them to produce, good music. And I think with Blackpink, I felt like it was more on coming out and trying to dominate this new sound that's coming out with a lot of the fourth generation girl groups, rather than I don't know, like I felt like some songs were missing that Blackpink vibe of we dominate, we're good enough, we're the ones that set the trend. I feel like they were following a trend rather than thinking that they're in control of setting the trend, for some of the songs. And then other songs, I was just like, oh, they're really good.
yeah, I like the second half of the album, when it slows down a little bit more than the first half. Um, so I wasn't overly impressed. It was okay. I can turn it on and put it on in the background while I'm doing stuff with it. But like I said, I still I don't follow enough of the girl groups, or I don't follow enough of the trends. I just know what I like and I listen to what I like. So I will say that definitely is your area of knowing what's trending. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. But um, so I will say that I I expected more, and maybe that is why. Like, I expect more of them. Like, I like it when they're owning. We're the badass bitches. We're the ones in
Yes.
charge. Where we're following it, and I think they do more of that. Like, I still say I don't know what is going on with their marketing. I don't know who is in charge. I don't know if they have one of those
They hate
upside
each
down
other.
things. But I just think, so yeah. And that's a shame. So anyway, I think that just about does it. Do you have anything to add to
No, we
this
good.
episode? Okay, I got palette cleansers. Yay! I got real palette cleansers. They all have to do with food. Are you ready?
Oh, I thought the K-pop section was going to be our palate cleanser.
No, I got a real palate cleanser. Are you ready?
I'm not, but go ahead anyway.
Snoop Dogg has breakfast food. It's called Mama Snoop's breakfast food with maple syrup and popcorn. And popcorn. Look at me. I must be hungry. And pancakes and grits. Are you gonna try it out?
No.
It's not laced with weed. You should be okay.
You
It's
don't know
not gonna
that.
get. It's not gonna
You
get
don't
you
know that.
high.
I don't care what the fuck he says in public. All of a sudden you eat it up, and then all of a sudden you got more munchies and you eat the whole entire box. Yeah, I don't trust Snoop Dogg. Everything's
Okay.
laced with weed up in there.
Well, unless you know, you on that NyQuil chicken. I know you heard about that bullshit.
I did hear about that bullshit.
I'm just gonna say this: stay the
Wait,
fuck off of TikTok. If you
wait.
cannot go on TikTok and do
Look,
a dance challenge, do not do that other shit.
look. It's just like with the Tide Pod. It's the same exact thing, right? Some fucking young person thought it would be hilarious to do it, but you ain't seen no videos of people actually eating the chicken that they cook in NyQuil though. Ain't nobody eating the actual chicken. They just showing like, ooh, this is what you do. But I ain't seen nobody putting on those chicken in their mouth though.
Some people have actually eaten that fucking chicken. I'm gonna tell young kids, if there are any young kids listening, stay the fuck off of TikTok because they got you eating NyQuil chicken and smoking fucking Smarties. Yeah, I said it.
Oh, they're snorting that or smoking it now?
Smoking it. They
Because I
were,
remember
you
they
know,
were snorting it for a while.
yeah, but now they smoke it. They snorting it.
It's fucking
They
crazy.
smoke it. Yeah. And then my last one, someone ran out of weed paper, and of course TikTok. They showed that they wrapped it up in McDonald's hamburger paper and said it's just as good as weed paper. Dead ass. I'm dead ass.
Y'all, pop stars, that is going to be the rewind for this week. I hope that you have been entertained. I hope that you have learned your lesson. I hope that you have also been educated. And I also hope that your palate has been cleansed by Eddie's food references. Thank you so much for tuning in. Eddie, let's end this here, boo. Let's go.
You said the last ones were real. Sorry, I figured I had to come correct this episode. Oh, those are good. Well, that does it for this episode of the Rewind. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment wherever you stream your favorite podcast. You can keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other entertaining kernels that we don't smoke at popcornwinedown.com. That does it for this episode. That's the plug. Pop, pop.
Oh my God, or cooking in NyQuil.
Oh yeah, don't do NyQuil flavored popcorn.
Oh my gosh.
Until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Bye.